Good evening to whoever's watching this. Hope you're having a great night. Being loved. The Godfather and his godchild. A worldly wise collector who had trotted the globe collecting everything he could shoot or buy or make off with, called upon his godchild, a little girl of 5, after a year of collecting in various countries of the world. I want to give you 3 things, he said. Any of these 3 things your heart desires. 5 diamonds from Africa, and a rhinoceros horn, scarabs from Egypt, emeralds from Guatemala, chessmen of ivory and gold, mooses' antlers, signal drums, ceremonial gongs, temple bells, and 3 rare and remarkable dolls. Now tell me, he concluded, patting the little girl on the head, what do you want more than anything else in the world? The little godchild, who was not a high hesitator, did not hesitate. I want to break your glasses and spit on your shoes, she said. Moral. Though statisticians in our time have never kept score, man wants a great deal here below, and woman even more. It sounded awful. The Grizzly and the Gadgets. A grizzly bear, who had been on a bender for several weeks following a Christmas party in his home, at which his brother-in-law had set the Christmas tree on fire. His children had driven the family car through the front door and out the back, and all the attractive female bears had gone into hibernation before sunset, returned home, prepared to forgive and live and let live. He found, to his mild annoyance, that the doorbell had been replaced by an ornamental knocker. When he lifted the knocker, he was startled to hear it play 2 bars of Silent Night. When nobody answered his knock, he tuned the doorknob, which said Happy New Year in a metallic voice, and a 2-tone gong rang. Hello, somewhere deep within the house. He called to his mate, who was always the first to lay the old aside, as well as the first by whom the new was tried. He got no answer. This was because the walls of his house had been soundproofed by a soundproofer, who had soundproofed them so well nobody could hear anybody say 6 feet away. Including the living room, the grizzly bear turned on the light switch, and the lights went on all night. All right. But the turning of the switch had also released an odor of pine cones, which this particular bear had always found offensive. The head of the house, now becoming almost as angry as he had been on Christmas Day, sank into an easy chair, began bouncing up and down, for it was a brand new contraption called Sit Pretty, which made you bounce up and down when you sat on it. Now thoroughly exasperated, the bear jumped up from the chair and began searching for a cigarette. He found a cigarette box, a newfangled cigarette box he had never seen before, which was made of metal and plastic in the shape of a castle, complete with portal and drawbridge and tower. The trouble was that the bear couldn't get the thing open. Then he made out, in tiny raised letters on the portal, a legend in rhyme. You can have a cigarette on me if you can find the castle key. The bear could nor find the castle key, and he threw the trick cigarette box through a window pane, out into the front yard, letting in a blast of cold air, and he howled when it hit the back of his neck. He was a little mollified when he found that he had a cigar in his pocket, but no matches, and so he began looking around the living room for a matchbox. At last, he saw one on a shelf. There were matches in it, all right, but no scratching surface on which to scratch them. On the bottom of the box, however, there was a neat legend explaining this lack. The message on the box read, "Safety, safety matches are doubly safe because there is no dangerous sandpaper surface to scratch them on. Strike them on a window pane or on the seat of your pants." Enraged, infuriated, beside himself, seeing red and thinking black, the grizzly bear began taking the living room apart. He pounded the matchbox into splinters, knocked over lamps, pulled pictures off the wall, threw rugs out of the broken window, swept vases and the clock off the mantelpiece, and overturned chairs and tables, growling and howling, and roaring, shouting, and bowling and cursing, till his wife was amused from a deep dream of marrying a panda. Neighbors appeared from blocks around, and the attractive female bears who had gone into hibernation began coming out of it to see what was going on. The bear, deaf to the pleas of his mate, heedless of his neighbor's advice, and unafraid of the police, kicked over whatever was still standing in the house, and went roaring away for good, taking the most attractive of the attractive female bears, one named Honey, with them. Moral: nowadays, most men lead lives of noisy desperation. The goose that laid the gilded egg. The goose didn't really lay a gilded egg. She laid an ordinary goose egg, like any other goose egg, and some joker gilded it with it when she left the nest for a snack or a snail. When she came back and saw the gleaming surprise, she cried, "Lo, I have laid the golden egg of lore and legend." "Lo, my foot," said a Plymouth rock hen. "That is an ordinary goose egg painted yellow, if you ask me." "She isn't asking you," said a rooster. "She is asking me, and I say that is a solid gold egg." The goose did not seem overjoyed. "I had my heart set on raising a gooseling," she said. "You'll have a golden gooseling," said the rooster. "Golden gooseling, my feathers," said the hen. "She'll have a yellow gosling, just like any other yellow gosling, only punnier." "I don't care what it looks like," said the goose. "I just don't want it to be gold. People would talk. They would snatch my quills for souvenirs. I would be photographed all the time. I will offer you a fabulous sum for the glittering miracle," said the rooster, and he named a sum fabulous only as things are figured fiscally among the feathered. The goose gladly accepted the offer. "I wouldn't sit on that egg," said the hen. "I wouldn't sit on it if a plantainium gander encrusted with diamonds came out of it." "I'll sit on it myself," said the rooster. And so the hopeful rooster rolled the gilded goose egg to a nest and began sitting on it. At the end of 3 weeks, all the hens left his bed and board. "You'll be sorry," said the rooster, "when the priceless treasure is hatched." Excuse me. "I know it will be a golden goose. I have already named her Goldie. When she becomes a full-grown goose, I will sell her to the highest bidder for a super fabulous sum." "Oh, sure," said the Plymouth rock hen, and my family came over on a Mayflower, and she went away. The old positivist sat and sat and sat on the gilded egg All his friends drifted away, and no hen would look at him, and his feathers began to fall out. One day, being a male and not a female, he clumsily stepped on the egg and broke it, and that was the end of the egg and the end of his dreams. Moral: it is wiser to be hen dubious than cocksure. That will do it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night. Sleep well.